Hello, this is Clare and Colin, and this is the first in what we hope will become an informative series of clips that are focused on seasonal topics and interesting bits and pieces around our garden. I'm obviously not Clare. Clare is filming me today. Say hello, Clare.
Hello everyone, yes I'm filming Colin.
Clare will appear on future clips as well. Now, today we are focusing on a group of flowering plants that has great place in many people's hearts, and that is the genus Lilium. Most of you will be very aware of liliums because they're available not only in florists but in supermarkets, and they grow really almost without fuss in so many gardens around the globe. There are three different types of lilium for the most part. The first is the Asiatic, and that's the group that's most highly coloured. The trumpet, and those of you that live in warmer climates will know about trumpet liliums because they're really quite tolerant of hot temperatures. And then there is this group, which is the Lilium orientale group, or the Oriental Lilium group. This is the one that you'll find most often in florists and supermarkets because it is the most, for the most part, highly scented lilium, which is why here we have it near our window so that we may enjoy the scent both indoors and out. Lilium bulbs are generally available most years from around about late autumn, early winter, all the way through until early summer. Now, if you live in an area where the soil freezes, it's really important to get your liliums in before that freeze date. But if, like us, you live in an area where that is never a problem, you can plant your liliums all through those months from, as I say, about late autumn, early winter to early summer. Hello, Spencer.
That's Spencer come to say hello.
Very jealous that Spencer is. So if you live in an area like us where the ground does not freeze, then you can plant all the way through for many months. But bear in mind that the flowering time is dictated by the time at which you plant. If you want the strongest plants, we recommend planting as early as you possibly can, especially for types like the Oriental liliums. These Oriental liliums are in a group known as the stem rooting liliums. Now that means that not only do the roots come out from the bottom of the bulb, which if you hold in your hand is composed of a lot of different scales. So they not only, those roots come out from the bottom of the bulb, but they'll also grow out from the sides of the stem that's underground. It's really important to make sure that you do plant about 20 or 30 centimetres deep in the ground so that the plant can grow as much root mass as possible. The more roots there are, the more strength is conferred to the plant, and the more flowers potentially will be produced. If you're growing your liliums in the ground, make sure you dig in plenty of organic matter. If you have a heavier soil, you may want to dig in some grit. That's really, really fine gravel for those of you that garden in North America. So dig in some really, really fine gravel if you have very heavy, particularly poorly drained soil. If you have sandy soil, we'd suggest the addition of organic matter, well-rotted manure or compost. Things are simplified somewhat when you grow in a pot like we have chosen to do. You can see here, just down the bottom, that this is rather faded, but this is one of my favourite pots. It's a self-watering pot with a water reservoir down the bottom. This is a square pot. It's around about 40 by 40 centimetres, and the old measurement that's about 20 inches. This is probably the minimum size I would suggest if you want your liliums to come back year after year. And just while we're down here, you can see that we've opted to include some planting companions. This is Hosta Minuteman, and at the moment, Mr. Minuteman is producing these beautiful blooms. Hosta is also in the lily family, which we feel is rather appropriate. This here, many of you will know from indoor plant posts on Instagram and indeed Facebook, Oxalis triangularis, which can also be grown outdoors during the summer months, but if you live in an area where it's particularly cold, must be brought indoors for the winter. Down here, you can see a plant that's obviously growing in a different pot, but it could have been placed in this one. This is Japanese temple grass, Clare&Colan macra aureola. I also have its companion Orgold, just right next door. So these are really good companions for Liliums as well. Now, if you are planting in a pot, soil, of course, is a much easier type of thing to control. We use a premium potting mix here in Australia, but we suggest just using your favourite trusted brand. And if you have your own homemade compost or some really well-rotted manure, you can add that into the potting mix as well. Liliums adore a really organic, moisture retentive but well drained mix, and that will give you really good results. You might be wondering also how often we actually fertilise. Well, we do prefer liquid fertilisers only because we know exactly how much we've applied of the fertiliser each time. But if we were going to be away or we didn't have as much time, we would use an organic or an inorganic fertiliser, a slow release fertiliser. It's pelletised and there are lots of brands. If you're looking for a beautiful flowering plant that has a fairly extended season of interest and has beautiful, beautiful perfume, Claire and I feel you couldn't really go past the beautiful, the sumptuous Oriental Liliums.